Great. Now, one thing that I find really interesting about your blog post was that
Yeah.
you wrote that one of the main questions that people have in their mind when they're people pleasing is what will they think, right? Because again,
Mm-hmm.
they want that validation from someone else or something else. Now, you mentioned you should change that question to something else, right? So, what exactly is that question, and why do you think that change in paradigm will really help a person overcome that people pleasing trap?
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Great question. For me, that question when I'm in people pleasing mode is what will they think? Exactly. It's that focus on the other. And that question really makes everybody else the CEO of your life, right? What will
Yeah.
they think? Puts everybody else in the driver's seat of your life. When I shift to the question of what do I want? Again, it's maybe not a question we often pause and think.
Yeah.
It shifts though, and it can feel selfish to a people pleaser to sort of shift into the like, what do I want? But it doesn't make you selfish. It makes you visible. First, it makes you visible to yourself. Right? It starts making you visible to other people. It invites you to not turn somebody else into the CEO of your life, but invites you to participate as the bus driver, as the CEO
Yeah.
of your life, right? That you're
Yeah.
the head of your life. You are in it and participating instead of just performing. You're not performing for other people, but you're actually participating. And so for me, when you shift that question from what will they think to what do I want, you
Mhm.
start living your life instead of just managing other people's reactions.
God, yeah. So again, like when you shift that paradigm, it just comes down to figuring out, okay, like I have to validate myself to build confidence and be happy, right? Again, rather
Right.
than focusing on someone else's opinion of you. Now, one problem with this is that sometimes if you've been people pleasing too long, you can like swing to the other side of the pendulum and just go
Mm-hmm.
to an extreme,
Right.
right? Because like you may have gotten just like completely sick of it, and then you just want to make a change immediately, which oftentimes doesn't really happen. It takes time for this to happen, right? So
Right.
how do you know that you're not swinging to like the complete other side of the spectrum and entering the extreme where you're just like overly selfish,
Right.
rude for no reason, and you just don't care at all about anyone, right?
I love that, right? Like
Yeah,
it's like we're so tired of the people pleasing cape. We
yeah,
tear it off and like
yeah,
we become like, like the Incredible Hulk
yeah.
underneath
Complete
it or so,
opposite. Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so I think you're exactly right. It's a great question because honestly, I think that we have that fear exactly that if we stop for one moment of people pleasing, that somehow I'm going to turn into a selfish monster, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that fear in part is what keeps us stuck
Hmm.
in the people pleasing. But the truth is that most recovering people pleasers, you couldn't even be selfish if you tried, right? Like
Really?
it's like
Mm.
I mean, sometimes it's so hard, right? That it's not your reflex. It's not that like your reflex is to be mean, but you can check yourself. One of the ways I think as we start to again experiment and sort of start asking the different question, what do I want? If that feels like too much of a selfish question for you to even experiment with, maybe a question you can start with is what do I want that also honors the situation and relationship, right? So you can sort of
Okay.
still balance like you're on what do I
Mm.
want? You're asking that also honors the situation or relationship. So you're not turning into the incredible
Yeah.
selfish Hulk.
Yeah.
And so it's not about swinging, but it's about centering, right? So you're bringing yourself back into the equation. You can still consider, of course, the relationship, the situation you're dealing with coworkers, your spouse, your children, your friends. So how can what do I want that's also going to honor this relationship? And so that can help be a gateway to start recognizing you can swing without turning into the selfish hawk.
God, yeah. So the second part of that question like really helps the person still feel like, okay, I'm still being, kind and polite by taking the other
Yeah.
person's feelings into consideration, right?